The LA YouTube culture is different from the New York YouTube culture in that New York does not have a YouTube culture, or the culture is very, very small. It's just, you can't even compare it. I was doing collaborations in New York with YouTubers across the country and asking them to send me their footage, and then I'd edit it into something, and it's not the same as being in a room with someone. And here, I find myself getting excited to talk about YouTube with YouTubers because I can do it face to face now, and it's been really great, and collaborating has kind of gone through the roof. There was 1 week recently where I was literally doing a collaboration video with someone every single day of the week, and it was really stressful, but it was also very cool because then all those videos come out. It's like, oh, this is why it's nice to be out here. Also, I wore shorts in February, so that's a great change. And there's beautiful natural light here all the time. In New York, the weather is a horrible bitch, and so you can't depend on shooting outside, at least. When I left right after Hurricane Sandy. It was kind of like the final fuck you from New York to me as I left, and I was like, thank you very much, New York City. You were a horrible, horrible bitch to me, but also nice. I was auditioning for TV film before I started doing YouTube, and about a few months ago I booked a Lowe's commercial that went on TV, and it was a series. We shot 8 commercials in 3 days, and everyone online that saw it was like, oh, Daily Grace in this commercial, Lowe's got Daily Grace, when really it's like they got Grace Helbig, the actress that auditions for things. It wasn't like they saw my YouTube videos and plucked me from the internet. The YouTube videos almost didn't get me the job because companies like to have a very squeaky clean spokesperson, and some of the videos are not squeaky clean. Lowe's almost didn't hire me because of a piece that I shot with G4 for Attack of the Show. After they disregarded it and put the commercials up, the social media return on the commercials was so ecstatic and so positive that they were like, we love Grace, she's great, we love her, forget everything said, we didn't say anything, we were always Grace, Grace, Grace. And so I think that they realized like the power of the internet to help promote product. And that's why I think I could never fully ever abandon the internet. It's such a great, cool place, and also a terrible place. The Lowe's audition was a really memorable audition, because it was one of those auditions that I was like, if I don't book this audition tape is going to go online somewhere in like 20 years, and people are going to be like, this is insane. So the director really liked fucking with people, so he wanted you to be an asshole to potential customers, because they were using real customers, so you had to be able to riff with them until they got the soundbite that they needed for their commercial. And so he was having me do crazy stuff, like my energy like super high. He's like, there are jets next to you, pretend there are jets next to you, and I was like, welcome to Lowe's, blah 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 blah, and I was like making horrible puns and just like screaming. And I walked out of the audition room, and all the girls that were like waiting to go in, who at that point in time, this was in New York, I knew a lot of them because the comedy scene is very tight-knit, were just like, yeah, we heard it, sounded great. Like, yep, that was really embarrassing. And every girl that went in was like, I feel like we're all getting punked right now in this audition. Then I ended up booking the audition, and the day we shot, he was like, okay, so everything that you did in that audition, don't do. So we just gotta play it real, like, monotone. And so in the commercial, I'm just like the most generic version of like, try my Lowe's. And so it was one of those things where I'm like, why did you make me do all of that then? And I think he just wanted to see that someone would do what he said. So that tape will probably be online at some point. I just had a moment the other day where I went on an audition at ABC, and I walked into the room, and it was for a pilot that it was about 3 main girls, and I walked into a room of just about 20 girls, all like beautifully dressed and perfectly accessorized, and I just started laughing out loud because it's just so silly. They were all sitting in this room totally nervous and like wringing our hands like, oh God, like waiting for this godlike creature to judge us and either choose us or not choose us. And it's such a thing. And then when you realize like, oh, no one's forcing us to be in this crazy, emotionally taxing thing. We've all volunteered to be here. It's just so silly. But coming to the end of pilot season, haven't booked anything, but it's been really pushing my desire to create my own content, which is what I've been used to doing, what I feel is my strong suit. So now I'm trying to kind of curve my trajectory in a direction that allows me to create possibly my own show. I think the comedy style, it's not mean-spirited, it's silly, it's goofy, it's fun. When people ask me to describe Daily Grace, because the audience tends to lean towards teenage girls, I say that Daily Grace is your awkward older sister that doesn't know everything about the world but is trying to figure it out with you and give you advice that might not be the best, but she's trying. It's awkward and goofy, and hopefully not annoying. It's what I try to steer clear of. When I was younger, I'm the only girl in a family of brothers, and I thought my brothers were the funniest people in the world, so I had a comedy inkling when I was younger because I always wanted to make them laugh. And I remember the first time I made them laugh is by doing a Cartman impersonation in the car when we were driving on a family trip. And I was like, yes, this is the greatest feeling. And so I wanted to do that somehow. And obviously Tina Fey was one of the first people that I thought was so, so great. And I wanted to follow her career path as a sketch writer and then maybe a performer. And so I was taking sketch writing classes. I started a sketch team at my college and an improv team, and we did a lot of comedy stuff, and it was really fun. I also think that Lisa Kudrow as Phoebe on Friends is one of the funniest characters ever, and I think there's a real strong influence of that in Daily Grace, and when people comment on it, I'm like, oh, cool, because I think that her character is just so funny, and people don't really realize it or don't think about it in terms of like funny women. Currently, like people like Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy are just so endlessly funny, and Maya Rudolph and Rachel Dratch, and Amy Poehler, they're just so great, and so I've definitely been influenced by them. I create a lot of content, and sometimes I sit back and I look at it, I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool that I've done a lot of different ideas, and sometimes I sit back and I have the fear of, oh god, one day the well's gonna run dry. But the great thing about the internet and about it being a two-way street is that I utilize Tumblr and Facebook and Twitter, and I ask people for ideas for Wednesday reviews or how-tos or what kind of advice do you need for like daily advice episodes. And it's been really, really great, and I think that's a part of the success that Daily Grace has had, is that there's a closeness to the audience because they help me make the videos every day. Your brain has this tendency to remember pain more than pleasure, which is so fascinating to me, because you'll read 100 great comments and then you'll read one negative comment, and you'll remember that negative comment word for word, but you couldn't quote any of the other 100 you've read. And there's just something chemically, I think, that happens that allows us to remember pain. And so I've learned by doing it so many times that I'm not going to make everyone happy. People have issues that they like to project onto other people by typing it out, and it might make them feel good for a second. That's fine. I can't take it personally. If I took it personally, I wouldn't be able to ever create anything. It's hard to do, but you just have to let it slide. And I just like to picture them in a wood-paneled basement living a very sad life, and then I'm fine and I feel good. It's so hard because you want to like post on your blog and be like, this person's an idiot, everyone yell at this person. I remember one time on Tumblr, I did respond to like a teenage girl leaving me a mean comment, and people like went after her, and I felt so horrible. I felt so bad that I let a teenager get to me as an adult, that she shut down her Tumblr, and I felt so horrible after that. So I learned a very valuable lesson that you never fight it. Just let it exist, and it's so easy to say and so hard to do, but you just have to try to make an effort to do it. You'll waste your time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. On getting through the rest of pilot season. I'm doing live comedy shows with Hannah Hart and Mamrie Hart at the Meltdown Theater here in Los Angeles, and we are trying to take the show, it's called No Filter, on tour, and we're hoping to go to a few colleges across the United States and do some live comedy, because Mamrie and I both come from comedy backgrounds. I did improv comedy in New York, and she's done sketch comedy at UCB and all around New York as well. And after that, working on some hopeful potential TV ideas, and maybe throw in a book idea in there. And I'm going to South by Southwest for a couple days for my NM channel and Subway. And it should be, all in all, a really great time. I'd like to be within the world of television for this future endeavor, but utilizing YouTube at the same time. A lot of questions I get are, what's the future of TV and internet? Will they fight to the death, or will they have sex with each other? And I think that they need to have sex with each other, because neither one's going to go away entirely, but the idea of like collaboration and supplemental content on another platform, I think, is a smart way to bring new life to old media. So that would be my goal, is to create a program that utilizes the digital medium and creates an experience for people, rather than just, hey, here's my content on this wall, look at it. And I want it to be interactive in as many ways as it can be. What that is to be determined. I have all of the descriptions of it, but I just don't have it yet. It can be very intimidating to break into a comedy space, whether it's in traditional media or on the internet, because it's quote-unquote a male-dominated field. But it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters in comedy is that you have a point of view or an opinion or perspective on the world that people can either relate to or laugh at. And so it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy, it's just your point of view. So work on developing your point of view and your voice. That's the most important thing. And your authenticity, because attention is currency online. I heard Chris Hardwick say this recently, and it really resonated with me. And it's true. If you can get someone's attention, it's like they've paid you for your service. And I think that authenticity rings so true online, and people can see bullshit. Your audience is smart, even if they seem dumb. So just don't feed them bullshit. Be authentic and find a point of view, or find something you're really passionate about. Also, if you're passionate about two different things, combine them, is also what I heard Chris Hardwick say. So basically, just ask Chris Hardwick. I would really want to have Jennifer Lawrence in a video and take a shot with her. I think
she's doing that all at the Oscars.
Yeah, she took a shot after the Oscars, and she was hilarious. So I'd like to have her, I think, in a Daily Grace video. Even if she was just standing in the back while I did a Daily Grace video and she was never talked to. Just to have her presence there, I think, would be real comforting to me. I want Bobby, if I could have a cartoon character in a video, I want Bobby from King of the Hill. I think he is the greatest created cartoon character of all time. A flamboyant, overweight boy from Texas is, oh, it's so perfect. I would love to have him in a Daily Grace.